Apologies in advance. Our equipment is more or less up to speed, but today we're unable for the second day running to bring you anything other than a restricted Pompey news service. But there are some interesting stories out there and we'll bring them to you as best we can, like this.
The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
The news reports that John Messino is upset, but by no means distraught, about the news that Conor Shaughnessy could be out for some considerable time. His main concern is actually for Shaughnessy himself, who he says must be terribly disappointed, especially having worked so hard to get himself back to match fitness and to put in so many, well, a handful anyway, of really towering performances since he came back. However, Messino is not particularly dismayed by the prospect of taking the field without him because they've invested so heavily and so cleverly in central defenders. We have, of course, Bowett is waiting in the wings and he looks a good prospect. And we've got Josh Knight, who we brought in, who on Saturday was one of the few to salvage some self-esteem and one or two glowing reports when he came on. And of course, we've got Matthews, haven't we, who looks a class act. He might still be a little bit raw, some would say. But the point is that Pompey have developed plenty of cover for the what's could be called the number 5 shirt, the centre half spot. These are John Messino's exact words. Conor is not good. He's disappointed naturally having worked so hard to get himself into this position. The torn hamstring sums up the day. He's had such injury issues over the past season and we've spoken extensively about why we wanted to have 5 contracted centre halves in the building, and then on Saturday we see why. Josh Knight came on, Hayden Matthews was back in the squad on Saturday after not being involved at Southampton. So we need everybody at it and we need to have that squad depth. I know Josh and Hayden featured in the second half, but to be honest, it was a different game than we've had for the majority of the season, so I didn't look at their performance and think anything was inherently wrong with it. As a team, there were loads to tidy up, and ultimately one of them is going to be called upon now. We have strength in that position, so we need players to step up. There would have been disappointment the previous weekend, a couple of players who didn't make the squad, and then all of a sudden things changed very quickly. The report points out that the awful moment occurred in the 50th minute as Shaughnessy ran across to deal with a ball knocked hopefully down the line by Sheffield Wednesday, and down he went, and 2-0 up they went. But tragic, very bad news for Shaughnessy. One's thoughts are with him, the man and the player, and bad news of course for Pompey as well. But plenty of comfort to be had from the fact that the contingency to have plenty of fallback in the centre-half department, bearing in mind what had happened the season before, turns out to be yet another good move by the recruitment team, who are headed up effectively by Rich Hughes, but probably even passing the line management down to Rich Hughes from John Messino himself. It was all good contingency planning and it has come good. John Messino's decision to make sure that Pompey have more than adequate cover in key positions is venerated in goal as well as in the number 5 shirt, because it's worth bearing in mind that despite losing Schmidt to a fractured metacarpal bone, one of 5 in the hand-wrist area, he's not going to have to undergo surgery, which means that theoretically his recovery may be quicker than was at first anticipated, although it's underlined that we shouldn't expect him back any earlier than the 8 to 12 week time frame that was originally put forward. However, good news that he doesn't have to undergo surgery, and also good news that we have 3 goalkeepers that we could call on if needed. Obviously, Ben is doing the job that he does to the best of his ability, which is what he did against Sheffield Wednesday, and he pulled off some terrific saves. No two ways about that. His shot stopping is as good as anybody. But his slight jitters when the ball is at his feet, which frankly can only be overcome in the short term by him booting it clear. We don't want him trying to play football. Don't give it to him in the hope that he's going to play football. Give it to him in such a way that he can kick it straight away and kick it as far in the direction of Colby Bishop as possible. So I think that one doesn't call for the world's greatest head coach to solve, if I'm not mistaken. Do you agree? But we've also got, of course, Bostic, new boy. Let's hope it sticks with him. And he's coming round to being a possible first team pick. It's said that there are one or two aspects of his game that are a little bit shortfall, so they're working on that. And of course, we've got a terrific goalkeeping coaching setup. But what is forgotten, and in fact we didn't realise it, is that our Archer, who would be fourth choice goalkeeper, is not registered with the squad. But if required, we have one squad place left. Did you know? And we could, if needed, sign up Archer into the squad if we needed him just to be on the bench on a Saturday for a game. So, once again, the plan to make sure that we had more than adequate cover in key positions such as the number 5 shirt and the goalkeeping jersey has paid off enormously well. So well done everybody at Fratton who came up with those two. Football League World, the football news agency, are running an interesting story. Well, interesting at least to Pompey fans who go back as far as the days COVID kicked in. It's about Christian Burgess, who played 210 times for Pompey and was an integral figure in the heart of defence in the Pompey squad that achieved promotion to League One in 2017. The article points out that Burgess spent time in his young days with the academies of Arsenal, West Ham and Bishop Stortford before landing a professional contract with Middlesbrough in 2012, where he would make just one appearance for them. Described in Football League World as a towering Englishman, he was a big lad. He is a big lad. He spent time on loan to Hartlepool and Peterborough before joining Peterborough on a permanent basis, where he would spend one season before being on the move again, this time to a permanent home, a permanent switch to Pompey. Now, Pompey were going through it at the time. They'd endured 2 consecutive seasons in England's 4th tier after tumbling all the way down from the Premier League. And Burgess was recruited, they say, with the aim of helping fire the club back up through the leagues. Well, he quickly endeared himself to Pompey fans with his displays, earning a 6th place finish in his first season with the club and then a title-winning campaign 2016-2017 under Paul Cook, where Burgess made 44 appearances in the leagues, scored 4 and assisted twice. He would go on to play at least 25 times in each of the next 3 seasons at Fratton Park, as Pompey held on to their status as a League One club, but began to struggle for game time. This is Christian, with the emergence of Jack Watmore and Matt Clark, who became the preferred duo in the middle of a back 4. So Burgess once again established himself at the heart of defence in his final season at Pompey, although the season was cut short due to COVID. He was offered a new contract with the club, but he turned down the offer and pursued a shock move to Belgian 2nd Division outfit Union Saint-Galoise. When responding to his decision to the move, Burgess said, "It was a gamble, football-wise, going to Belgium, for sure, but there was enough in it to tempt me. I can recall saying that even if the football didn't work out, even if we remained in the 2nd Division in Belgium, with the money similar to what I was earning at Pompey, I'd have all these new life experiences. This was a chance to learn a new language and submerge myself in somewhere else. It was a gamble, but it wasn't unmanageable. I saw enough positives which made me really comfortable with the decision. I simply couldn't say no to the opportunity." Since his move to Brussels, Burgess has thrived at the heart of defence, earning promotion to the Jupiler Pro League in his first season at the club, and has since gone on to make over 200 appearances for Union SG. That's more than he actually made for Pompey. He's now the captain of the club, and these minnows, as they can be described, from the Belgian capital, won their first top-flight title in 90 years last season, with Burgess making 30 appearances across the entire campaign. And this means that Union SG and Burgess will compete in the Champions League proper for the first time this season. When asked about whether he would return to England to play football one day, Burgess said, "Coming back to England is never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. There is just not the right fit anymore for where my career is and where Pompey are. I don't even think they want to sign a 33-year-old centre-half because there's no value in it for them apart from performance. And even if a top championship club offered me something better financially, do you want to go and play 24 away games in a season constantly away from your family? Or do you remain in Belgium, where we never stay over in hotels because everything is so close, apart from the occasional 1 p.m. kickoff? For me, England is not going to happen again, in football anyway, especially at my age." So, the conclusion is that Burgess doesn't regret his decision to challenge himself abroad, whilst it's felt by Football League World that Pompey, who will be pleased to see how he has done, will also wonder whether they ought to have done more to keep him at the heart of their defence at Fratton Park.